Understanding today's tensions demands a deeper look into the history of Iran and Israel. Their relationship was not always defined by volatility. Once, it was a dance of mutual interest that few recall. Now, the names Iran and Israel evoke images of hostility, proxy wars, and an endless cycle of confrontation. Yet what if this bitter rivalry is only a recent chapter in a far longer, more intricate story? What if, before the bombs and the rhetoric, these two nations were not enemies at all, but clandestine partners, bound together by shared fears and common goals? Today, we peel back the layers of propaganda and prejudice to trace the extraordinary journey of Iran and Israel, from unlikely friendship to fierce contention. How did a bond forged in secrecy unravel so completely, planting the seeds of the dangerous tensions we witness now? To truly understand the present, we must first travel back to a time that seems almost unbelievable from today's perspective. Before 1979, the relationship between Iran and Israel was strategically cooperative, even warm. This was during the reign of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran. Imagine a geopolitical chessboard where the Shah of Iran and Israeli leaders saw eye to eye, bound by common strategic interests. Both countries felt a pressing need for allies in a tumultuous region. But perhaps even more critically, both viewed the rising tide of Arab nationalism, spearheaded by figures like Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser, with profound concern. This shared geopolitical interest led to the periphery doctrine, the idea that Israel should forge alliances with non-Arab states on the periphery of the Arab world to counter potential threats. What formed from this strategic alignment was a fascinating, albeit largely clandestine, alliance. This wasn't just diplomatic niceties. It was a deep, multifaceted partnership. Intelligence agencies from both nations shared critical information. There were significant arms deals, with Israel often acting as an intermediary for Iranian access to Western military technology, and Iran providing crucial intelligence and even logistics. Economically, the ties were substantial. Iran became a significant and reliable oil supplier to Israel, ensuring its energy security, especially during times of regional instability. In return, Israeli expertise flowed into Iran, aiding modernization programs. Israel helped improve Iran's agricultural output, as well as the training and development of the Imperial Iranian Army, building a formidable military force. This period, though often overshadowed by later events, was foundational. It laid the groundwork for mutual understanding between the two peoples and their governments. There were embassies in Tehran and Tel Aviv, cultural exchanges, and a sense of shared destiny. Israeli companies operated openly in Iran, and Iranians traveled to Israel for business and tourism. It was a relationship built on pragmatism, shared security concerns, and a vision for a modern, pro-Western Middle East. But this carefully constructed edifice was about to be shattered by a seismic shift that would redefine the region. The Iranian Revolution, led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, fundamentally transformed Iran from a pro-Western monarchy into an Islamic republic. This wasn't just a change in government. It was a radical ideological reorientation that reverberated across the globe. The new regime was fueled by a potent blend of anti-imperialism, anti-Western sentiment, and a revolutionary fervor that sought to export its ideology. Israel, seen as a close ally of the United States and a symbol of Western influence in the region, was immediately cast as an illegitimate entity, a Zionist regime. The Shah's cooperation with Israel was denounced as a betrayal of Islamic and Palestinian causes. The new leadership embraced a strong ideological commitment to the Palestinian struggle, viewing it not just as a nationalistic conflict, but as a central pillar of Islamic liberation. Suddenly, the pragmatic considerations that had bound Iran and Israel together vanished. The Israeli embassy in Tehran was famously handed over to the Palestine Liberation Organization just days after the revolution. All diplomatic, economic, and military ties were severed. This ideological clash became the new cornerstone of their relationship, transforming partnership into a declared existential enmity. It wasn't about shared threats anymore. It was about radically opposing worldviews, with Israel now positioned as the primary antagonist in the new Iranian narrative. The stage was set for an escalation unlike anything seen before. The Iran-Iraq War from 1980 to 1988 was a brutal, devastating conflict that further solidified Iran's animosity towards certain regional and international players, including Israel. While Israel initially maintained a complex, sometimes contradictory, stance, even secretly selling some weapons to Iran to prevent an outright Iraqi victory and ensure a prolonged conflict, the overarching perception within Iran was that Israel, alongside many Western and Arab states, stood against them. This 8-year bloodbath instilled in Iran a deep sense of vulnerability and a resolve to develop unconventional means of projecting power and deterring future aggression. It was during this period that a crucial new element emerged in the Iran-Israel dynamic, the rise of proxy warfare. In the early 1980s, as Israel became involved in Lebanon, Iran saw an opportunity to support emerging Shia militant groups. Among these, Hezbollah, meaning Party of God, quickly rose to prominence. Formed with significant Iranian financial, military, and ideological backing, Hezbollah became a potent, well-organized, and ideologically aligned force in Lebanon. Its stated goals included the liberation of Jerusalem and the destruction of Israel. For Iran, Hezbollah was a brilliant strategic move, a forward operating base on Israel's northern border, a credible deterrent, and a means of projecting power without direct military confrontation. For Israel, Hezbollah represented a new, formidable enemy, heavily armed and deeply entrenched. The Lebanon conflict of 2006, in which Hezbollah engaged in a protracted war with Israel, starkly demonstrated the group's capabilities and its role as a key Iranian proxy. This marked a profound shift. The conflict was no longer just rhetorical. It was becoming operational, fought through third parties. Hezbollah was just the beginning. Iran began to cultivate relationships and provide support to other militant groups that shared its anti-Israel stance. By empowering these groups, Iran found a way to apply pressure on Israel, maintain relevance in the Palestinian cause, and challenge regional power dynamics without directly engaging in a costly conventional war itself. This strategic ingenuity, born out of the vulnerabilities exposed during the Iran-Iraq War and the ideological imperative of the revolution, laid the groundwork for the shadow war we see today. The 1990s and 2000s saw a steady and alarming escalation of these tensions, pushing the relationship between Iran and Israel into an outright shadow war. The primary catalyst for this intensification has been, without a doubt, Iran's nuclear program. For Israel, a nation surrounded by adversaries and deeply conscious of its security, a nuclear-armed Iran is seen not just as a threat, but as an existential one. Israeli leaders have repeatedly stated that they will not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons, viewing such a development as a direct challenge to their survival. This fear has driven Israel to a relentless campaign aimed at disrupting and delaying the Iranian nuclear program. This has allegedly included covert operations, such as the Stuxnet computer virus that crippled Iranian centrifuges, and the assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists. While Israel rarely officially confirms these actions, the pattern of incidents strongly suggests a sophisticated and determined effort to sabotage Iran's nuclear ambitions. Iran, of course, views these actions as acts of state terrorism and a violation of its sovereignty, further hardening its resolve and deepening its mistrust of Israel and its Western allies. Today, the shadow war is a complex, multi-front engagement played out across the region. Iran continues to provide extensive support, including funding, training, and weaponry, to groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. These groups, in turn, regularly engage in skirmishes and outright conflicts with Israel, launching rockets, conducting cross-border raids, and maintaining a constant state of alert on Israel's borders. These actions are often seen by Israel as direct extensions of Iranian policy, designed to destabilize the region and threaten Israeli security. On the other side, Israel is accused of targeting Iranian assets and personnel in Syria, often citing the need to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military presence on its border and to interdict advanced weapon transfers to Hezbollah. Israeli airstrikes in Syria, sometimes hundreds in a single year, frequently target Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps bases, weapons depots, and allied militia compounds. The conflict also extends to the maritime domain, with both nations accusing the other of attacking their ships. It's a constant, low-intensity conflict, fought mostly in the shadows, far from the glare of conventional warfare, but with very real and devastating consequences. This ongoing conflict is a complex interplay of ideological differences, born from the revolutionary zeal of 1979, strategic competition for regional dominance, and proxy warfare, designed to inflict damage and project power without sparking an all-out conventional war. But the conflict has escalated. In June 2025, Israel launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. The United States of America joined these operations, targeting Iranian military infrastructure. The U.S. is involved in this as they see Iran's nuclear ambitions as a threat to regional stability, among other issues. Thus, preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, as well as uranium supply, remains as one of the U.S.'s priorities internationally. Iran's support of groups like Hezbollah and Hamas also challenges U.S. allies across the region, particularly Israel, who the U.S. has been protecting. The conflict between Israel and Iran escalated through the year, with February 2026 being the tipping point for conflict. The U.S. and Israel carried out coordinated attacks on Tehran, where Iranian military sites and oil depots were hit. The operation was revealed to be called Operation Fury. The strikes resulted in the assassination of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as well as other senior defense and intelligence officials. Iran responded by launching missile and drone attacks not only in Israel, but also on U.S. bases and allies across the Gulf, such as Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates. To this day, conflict reigns in the region. We constantly see videos of missiles being intercepted, properties being damaged as a result of the military attacks. Tens of thousands of people are stuck as airports are shut down. The whole world is starting to worry as oil supply is now an issue, and an increase in oil prices will mean a jump in inflation. Even more, many are worried if the war will continue, and if this will pave the way for the start of World War III. Currently, the combat remains within the area, making it a regional war even though there are global consequences. While various military forces are on the ready, diplomacy still plays a big role in looking for a way to de-escalate and prevent the conflict from spreading out. For now, we watch, we wait, and we continue to ask, why? On YouTube,